We'll get this going in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Infrastructure and Economic Development Committee meeting for March 2nd. Members of the committee that are here today are myself, Councillor Thiessen, and Mayor Clayton. And to begin, we've got a delegation from the Grande Prairie Chamber of Commerce coming at a previous request from Council to talk about the Get in the Loop program. So Ms. Oliver, welcome. I think you know the routine. You've got a few minutes to present, and then we'll ask you any questions we might have. Thanks for being here today.
Perfect. Thank you, Chair Bresty, Committee, and Council. Thank you for this opportunity to present and provide an update on our Get in the Loop mobile marketing platform. So full disclosure, I do wish I was delivering a slightly different report today. However, what I was hoping to deliver can't just be wished into reality. So the reality that I refer to and that we're striving for is going to come from continuing to learn and by continuing to push forward through the obstacles and the roadblocks and keep on working towards success. So during our first 6 months as new franchise owners, we have learned a lot. And for my update today, I am going to spend some time talking about some of those lessons. And as a result of our lessons learned, along with some feedback from our partners and from potential partners, we have recently opened applications for our Get in the Loop Community Relief Program, which I will also share details on. So despite the challenges and the adversities that we, as we persevere through the pandemic, the Get in the Loop franchise has actually grown and is in 99 locations now across Canada, which is pretty cool, and has an audience reach of over 500,000 people on the app and through website integration. In our Grande Prairie area, we have an audience of 1,951 opted-in local consumers who downloaded the app, and we currently have 7 partners with active offers on the platform. There is now a second franchise in our trading area as well, serving the Greater Peace Country since about November, and they're growing their audience with a couple hundred downloads in their area. So in our whole trading area, we have about 2,135 downloads on the app. So having a second franchise in our proximity is great news, and it will help us to build the brand awareness and also help to extend the reach for our partners and to the visitors that are coming into the city. So I want to acknowledge our team in the office for their efforts in venturing into this new and uncharted territory. The amount of learning we've all done is immense with the new systems and the way of doing things just all across the board in our organization. So they have been trying their best to embrace the new responsibilities and continue to learn and grow every day as they're pushing through the discomfort of all of this. And the awareness of the cyclical nature of the chamber operations has definitely been amplified. We're working on integrating new systems and continuing education for this new business arm of ours. So when we first launched, we tried to reach as many businesses as possible through various channels, like shouting from the rooftops that we have this exciting new opportunity free for the rest of the year. So we tried many different ways, including our chamber emails, online advertising, digital signs, radio, and direct contacts. So we were focused on trying to sign on as many businesses as possible, and we were excited about all the different features on the platform. We also promoted the ease and the convenience of creating offers and tried to empower our partners to create their own profiles and post their own offers. And we offered advice, but let the partners drive the bus. So often creating offers was the last thing on the minds of our very busy and overwhelmed people that we were dealing with. And despite best intentions, the offer creation, took a lot longer and often just didn't happen. So we started to shy away from that, encouraging businesses to take the reins, and we started creating the profiles ourselves and starting to create the offers for the partners. And businesses, they've just been adapting at an alarming rate, and this is just one more thing that they didn't have time or capacity for. So it's also a really noisy environment online right now, just everybody's online, and it's also a little cluttered in the shop local space. There's been a few independent shop local type businesses pop up since we've launched Get in the Loop, and it's just really pulling on the time and attention of the local businesses and the local consumers. So unfortunately, it's a little bit of a fragmented space right now. But despite the other noise in the market, we're still very confident that nothing compares to what we have to offer with Get in the Loop platform, and what we're bringing to the table is new, and we just really need to reach those early adopters to help us make it work for the community. Another surprise along the way is we were just surprised with the resistance that we got from businesses not wanting to take advantage of the 3 to 4 months for free on the platform. We thought going in that was, a significant amount of time that would be worth it for them to kind of go all in. But it simply wasn't enough, simply wasn't long enough, not with the extra demands on the businesses with the COVID restrictions and the constant state of uncertainty and the ups and downs and the changing conditions. And combine all that with the platform being brand new, there was just more hesitation than we had anticipated. So, the hesitation came from the price tag at the end of the few months, and just with the uncertainty of the businesses not wanting to fully commit during it being free, with knowing that they were going to have to pay. So we have received mixed feedback about the monthly cost of the platform. And just as a reminder to the committee that for our members of the chamber, it's $175 a month full price, full access to the platform. Full price is $225 a month for the full access. So since we started though, Get in the Loop Corporate has introduced multiple new payment options. There's payment tiers now, and there's also monthly payment plans for the members as low as $25 a month, and they just grow each month, but there's a 2-year commitment in that option. And then brand spanking new, yesterday afternoon, they introduced a new kind of middle of the road tier that's $100 a month. So we're excited about that. We do also have a free community tier that we're offering exclusive to members, but there's more restrictions on that one. So this $100 a month one actually has quite robust access to the platform. So excited to dive into that. So with all of that, we are shifting. So at last month's board meeting, our board approved a budget of $15,500 to support our Get in the Loop community relief program that we created, and a total program value of over $80,000. So the program awards 20 member recipients with 1 year free on the platform. So the application has been sent directly to our members who are in business categories hardest hit by the COVID restrictions, including restaurants, personal wellness, fitness, salons, spas, retail, and entertainment. The application is open until next Wednesday, March 10th, when we will then assess the applications and award the placements. In addition to be given 1 year free on the platform, we've partnered with Beauchamp Photography to do a professional photo shoot with each of the 20 partners. So these photos, the businesses that will then own the photos, they can use them on their Get in the Loop platform, but in all of their other marketing materials as well. So that'll really create extra value for those partners. And lastly, with the tangible benefits of this program, the partners will also be on our digital sign for the duration of the year. So on top of the tangible components, we definitely commit to working with our partners to create their offers, to set them up for success on the platform. We will equip them with the tools required to uphold their commitment to the partnership, and we will continue to market and promote Get in the Loop in our area, encouraging new app downloads and continue to onboard new partners. We will regularly check in to review our partner campaigns and help determine next steps. So this time, we're focusing on the quality versus the quantity to ensure that we're cultivating the best experiences on the app for the member consumers as well as the member business partners. So we really need partners who are all in. So in exchange for the package they're receiving, partners entering the program will commit to some of the following. So consistently have at least 3 offers live, with one of them being an exclusive offer. We really want to encourage partners to create offers that excite them, and then they're going to excite their customers. They must train their staff on how to promote the app and on how to redeem the offers. They need to commit to promoting it on their social channels, display their partner materials in their establishments, take advantage of any contests or feature opportunities that we have, and really just work with our team to optimize their offers. And honestly, going forward, this is just going to be the standard. So with this program, we're really wanting to aid these partners as we're entering into recovery, as the COVID restrictions continue to be lifted. And with a full year on the program, we're confident that the businesses are going to be more comfortable going all in, training their staff, taking the time to train their customers, because really that's what we need for it to work for the businesses and work for the community for partners to be able to be all in and willing to participate fully. So our team is going to make sure we focus more on the benefits of the partners for joining us on the platform and provide additional support and suggestions when it comes to offer creation. And we're going to be more unapologetic about what it takes to actually be successful. We don't want to set our partners up for failure. We really want to set them up for success. And it's really uncomfortable suggesting, your offer that you're wanting to put up is just not going to work for you. So we're just getting more comfortable being uncomfortable. We now also have created an advisory committee dedicated to get in the loop with four of our board members to work with our staff to set the strategic direction of the business and act as a sounding board for new ideas and strategies for us to succeed. So we started this venture to help connect our community and still what we fully intended to do. We can't create it for the community, though we have to create it with the community. So I am excited to set this new bar with our community relief program participants to set the stage to attract more partners and to increase engagement with the local consumers. So thank you once again to the committee and to council for the grant funding to support us with this. And there's so much potential, and I'm excited to see where it goes.
Great. Thank you for your presentation today. Thank you for the work you're doing for our community. I'll just look to the committee and see if there's any questions. Councillor Thiessen.
Thank you very much, Chair Bressie, and thank you very much, Ms. Oliver, for coming in and presenting to Council on this. I think I might have missed it at the top of the program or of your presentation. For how many businesses total did actually sign up for the Get in the Loop program?
Sorry, am I allowed to answer? Yeah.
Go ahead, Ms. Oliver.
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
Thank you, Chair Bressie. So in the thick of things, we had upwards of 30 partners on at a time. Currently, we have 7.
Okay. Yeah. And what is your growth hope? Like, what are you projecting for the Get in the Loop program to be super successful? What's your minimum number that you'd like to connect?
You know what? Once we, I'm really excited about these 20 partners that we're going to be onboarding through this program. Because we're really going, like I said, with the quality over the quantity, and it's really going to help set the bar for onboarding new partners and also just really encouraging usage of the app with having, the 3 offers for every partner that are robust and that are exciting. Like, it's just going to really help cultivate the environment where people want to be there. They want to go check out what's there. Partners want to be there because there is that high bar set. And there's that community and that partnership. So I don't know what that magic kind of is. I know our market development manager with corporate that works with us, he was pretty excited about the 20 partner kind of threshold of what we're going to be cultivating. So I don't know what the exact success looks like, but I think that having these 20 partners for the full year that are all in is going to just set that bar.
Awesome. If I may ask one more question, Chair Bressie.
Please go ahead.
Thank you very much. I think one of the biggest things for setting your bar and achieving the goals is how well the program works and the type of feedback that you get. A bit of positive momentum goes a long way to adding more people to any program. What is the type of feedback that you've been receiving from the people who have enlisted in the program?
Go ahead, Ms. Oliver.
So the people who have the businesses, you mean the partners?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So far, we have a lot of people that are hopeful that the app will be successful, but so far with what they've tried, it hasn't quite worked yet. We don't have any homegrown success stories yet. And so out of these 20 partners as well, I'm really confident that we will be able to really get some really good success stories. And also with being more, not prescriptive, but kind of driving the bus more with our expectations on what is going to help them succeed as far as offers go, being more comfortable with that is going to also help set them up if we help guide that ship a little bit better. Yeah. So.
Okay, thank you very much.
Yeah.
Is there any other questions? Excellent. Well, we appreciate the update. We appreciate hearing what's coming next and knowing what we can look forward to seeing. So thank you again for your work with this. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Oliver. Have a great day. And with that, Councillor Platt. Oh, okay. just a wave. With that, I will move on to item 3.1, which is the Downtown Rehabilitation Phase 4 update with Mr. Hoyen.
There we go. Thank you, Chairman Bressie. So let's just get a few notes up here so we can talk about what's been happening. Last week, the Downtown Rehabilitation team successfully completed the 2021 pre-construction information session on Tuesday, February 23rd. We had 67 attendees on the Zoom meeting. I followed up with a business owner on Wednesday morning who was disappointed that she had missed the meeting. She was also concerned that customers would still be having trouble getting to her door. I enlisted Cindy Patton, Business Retention and Expansion Coordinator, and Christine Carrillo, Marketing Specialist, to reach out to her to see if some of our marketing incentives would be able to help her. Lydia Sadiq and I attended the virtual Downtown Association 2021 Annual General Meeting on February 24th. Connor and I attended the virtual Downtown Association Strategic Directions Committee yesterday. And then yesterday afternoon, Connor Coney and I had a consultation with Spinal Cord Injury Alberta and CNIB to discuss the Downtown Rehabilitation Phase 4 work zone. It was a very great meeting. I was personally overwhelmed by some very simple tips that will enhance the safety of the work zone for cognitive, visual, and mobility challenged residents. Engineering and Environmental Services have completed the recruitment of an individual to replace myself in the field inspector position for the coming months during the duration of the Downtown Rehabilitation Project. His employment will start on February 8th next week. Currently, I'm working to finalize the downtown parking map so that we can post it on our website. And the DTR4 team will be starting to assemble a program to get the A-board sandwich board built and distributed to the businesses downtown. So that's kind of what's been happening in the past 2 weeks. Thank you.
Great, thank you. I'll just look at the committee and see if there's any questions. I don't see any, which I assume will change in these meetings as we actually start breaking ground. So we really appreciate you being here for these updates. I know it's going to be very handy once we get in that we can get quick answers. So thank you for being here today. We really appreciate it.
Thank you, Councillor. And I'm off. Bye-bye.
Great. And then I will look at Director Glavin to see if he's got any, I'll look to Director Glavin for his update.
Thank you, Chair Bressie. We'll start in economic development. Work continues on the Serving Up Knowledge workshop series as it continues to roll out with high attendance. This Thursday, we are having the Food Photography 101 with Chris Beauchamp. This session is designed for residents and food providers, but anyone's welcome to join. And registration is available on the Chamber's website. Next week, we'll be hosting a session on human resource policies, and we're continuing to take feedback from businesses on topics that they would like to see. In energy and environment, Grande Prairie has officially been designated a B city after our submission and evaluation, and more information and programming will roll out this spring. Director Miller covered off the CHP update at Eastlink. Moving on to engineering services, we posted the 108th and 100th Street Road rehab upgrades, as well as geometric upgrades and traffic signal improvements at 132nd Avenue and 100th Street intersection on the north end. We posted the mill and fill tender for 100th Street from 128th Avenue to the northern city limits. That kind of dovetails with that geometric upgrade project, as well as a mill and fill on 108th Street from 100th Avenue to approximately the Bear Creek Bridge. This work will include storm line replacements in the outer lanes as well. And finally, we've posted the 103rd Avenue Rehabilitation and Slope Repair tender. In transportation, we completed most Priority 1 roads on Sunday and finished downtown 100th Street yesterday. Priority 2 roads are well underway and expected to be done by the end of the week. Residential road snow removal began today, and trails should be done by the end of the day today. And with that, I'll take any questions.
Great. Are there any questions for Director Glavin? Councillor Thiessen.
Thank you very much, Chair Bressie. Just a couple questions in regards to, it's something that happens every year, it's potholes. How's the pothole filling program going as far as, or when are we going to get that started as far as filling things up with our new machine to patchwork on the roads?
Thanks, Chair Bressie. There's not a concerted effort right now as we're in full swing on the snow removal side of things. We have done some pothole fills over the course of the winter, ones that need particular attention. But as we kind of move into spring here, you'll see us ramp up. But if you'd like any more details on that, I'd have to consult with the department.
Okay, yeah, no rush, and actually not getting any complaints, but I'm anticipating it as we get every spring. My other question is I did receive a phone call yesterday in regards to parking lots and the city's snow removal policy on those. The nature of the call and complaint was the person got stuck in the deep snow of the library parking lot and was wondering why it was a priority 2. And I didn't really know what to say to her. So I guess I'm asking you, like when we have these big snowfall events, I know parking lots are low on the priority scale, but for places such as the Eastlink Center and the library where people tend to frequent, maybe not the Eastlink now, but especially in the library where turning can be difficult if there's more than a couple cars in the parking lot, but let alone getting stuck. How do we evaluate the urgency of clearing those parking lots?
Thanks, Chair Bressie. So, with any of our snow removal, it's always the priority 1 roads that we begin with. As far as parking lots, I know that typically we don't staff to the same levels on weekends to do parking lots as we do during the work week. So there may have been a delay. I'm not sure what day this person got stuck, if it was on a Sunday. That's
yesterday.
Yesterday. But that's something I can chat with the department on and get back to you. If you'd like me to send you an email with an update or the committee, I can certainly do that.
Yeah, that would be beautiful. Thanks so much, Brian.
Any other questions? Great. Thank you, Director Glavin. We appreciate the update. And next, we've got our Active Transportation Network report with Mr. Hinton.
Thank you, Chair Bressie. I'm here today to provide information on the Active Transportation Network gaps identified in the Transportation Master Plan. The current Transportation Master Plan was completed in April of 2020. The TMP is a strategic planning tool that helps city administration identify infrastructure needs. It's a high-level document used to direct more detailed analysis. Using information from the TMP process resulted in identified various locations to be added to the capital plan. In 2021 and 2022, approximately $1.24 million has been allocated to complete gaps in the transportation network. For additional work, I've provided the locations identified in the TMP and a cost estimate that can feasibly be done over the next few years. The estimated capital funding contribution needed is approximately $7.2 million. Additional funding would need to be allocated in the capital budget to complete the work by 2025. Further analysis is required to determine the priorities of those sites. I'm here today to recommend committee accept this report for information. Thank you.
Great, thank you. Are there any questions? A question I've got, Mr. Hinton, is if committee does this and just receives this report for information, what happens with these identified gaps next? Are they going to be addressed in our capital plan, in proposed capital plans by default? Will they just sit undone until council does give direction someday? Just what happens with these gaps if committee gives no direction today?
Thank you, Chair Bressie. Currently, we would prioritize those lists and see which ones need to be done, and try and prioritize those as accordingly with the budgets that we have allocated within the current capital plan.
Great. I know for me personally, I can't make a motion, but when I look at our list, it was really great getting context on different gaps in our network. It's really great hearing about things like 132nd Avenue and why we're not 116th, or sorry, 132nd Avenue, where we're not doing the transportation gap because we're waiting for twinning. And there's a few of these that just don't seem practical to do an active transportation gap on it. At the same time, there are a few that, to me, it seems practical to close the gaps if we want. And the three that I kind of put little check marks next to, I'd love to see council at least consider someday, would be the east side of O'Brien Lake, the 100th and 16th Street connections, and the Scenic Ridge, Crystal Ridge neighborhoods. Those seem like gaps, as I'm reading the report, that seem doable from a logistical and a practical standpoint. Just a matter of how prioritized council is. So I'd personally love to get these considered at the next budget cycle. Not necessarily to do in 2022, but I'd love to get them at least considered for our next 4-year budget cycle. And I don't know if there's anybody that's willing to make some sort of motion to refer them to budget, or if anybody else has appetite. But for me, I'd definitely love to see budget conversations around these. Mayor Clayton. Oh, and then Councillor Thiessen.
I absolutely support your intent here. I don't need to make the motion, but I'm happy to, so I'll leave it to Councillor Thiessen for now.
Councillor Thiessen.
No, I actually had a question, and I support the intent of the motion as well, and I always defer to the lady first. Anyways, I won't go on. Just a question in regards to the 100th Avenue, 116th Street to the airport. That's a $1 million hit at some point, maybe happening. Is there a lot of demand for people riding their bike or walking to the airport from 116th Street?
Chair Rusty, right now, we'd have to look at it and prioritize it to see if it's actually needed. It's one that was identified in the TMP. We'd definitely have to look at it and prioritize to see if it's actually how much is actually needed at the moment.
Mm-hmm. Okay, yeah, no, that was the one that just made me raise my eyebrow. I was like, it's a busy road, and anyways, no. Other than that, thanks for the report, Matt. Really appreciate the work in this, and I know I'm probably the biggest culprit for decreasing your budget year over year at budget, but hopefully we'll increase with these thoughtful ads that Councillor Bressie is looking to have forward to the budget meeting in the fall. And I'll hand it over to Mayor Clayton.
Well, so I don't see Mayor Clayton jumping to get in.
I was waiting for you.
Yeah, well, I was going to say I'm happy to suggest a motion if you'd like, or I'm happy to take a motion.
I don't need. I have a question before I make a motion.
Sure.
Just for Director Glavin, can this, if committee had the desire to direct these identified items to the 2021 budget for discussion, does it have to go to council first? I can't remember.
A good question. I believe committee can refer it to budget without without having it to go to council. I believe that's the process.
Okay, thanks.
So I do see City Manager Galante getting into.
Okay.
Thank you. Yes, committee can refer items to budget deliberations, and we will keep we're normally keeping track of with the list of different items during the year, so no problem.
Okay. Mayor Clayton?
Sorry, I'll let Councillor Plott get in the queue.
Sure, Councillor Plott.
Thanks, Chair Bressie. I'm just curious if there would be, I don't mind this coming to budget, but I also wonder, we know in budgets like there's a lot packed in there, there's a lot of things that should be coming to another committee with more details. Yeah. Similar to Councillor Thiessen, I have concerns about almost all of these moving forward, to be honest. And I'm saying I don't want to fund trail networks, but I also would like to see more detail about some of these, because some of these are pretty big sticker items, and I'm going to say with what's going on in the world right now, these are really nice to have, not needs, in my opinion. So I just would be careful of us putting a bunch of work on committee and a brand new council coming in at budget time trying to talk about stuff like this when we know how busy budget is already. And so I guess for me, if this was a really thing that we need to identify, I think we should be having a chat about it before it goes to the budget and making a decision of do we want want this to go on a funded list or unfunded list and go to the budget or not. I just wouldn't want to see us spending 2 or 3 hours talking about trail systems and budget, knowing what my first budget was like. And I personally don't see where the funding's coming from with this right now with all the other things coming on. So I just don't want to sound anti-path, but I don't know if this is the best use of administration's time and a budget time, and I don't know where the money would come from for these anyway. So it just puts us in a position where we have to say no to something that maybe we shouldn't have been discussing to begin with. So just my thoughts on it, I guess, for the group.
Okay. I saw Councillor Thiessen, and then I'll go to Mayor Clayton.
Thank you very much, Chair Bressie. Thanks, Councillor Plot. I don't disagree with some of these trail networks. Some of there's two in particular that Councillor Bressie pointed to that I think are important, and those are the 116th Street connections. The ones riding east-west on 68th Avenue and north-south on 116th Street. But I mean, I could add or subtract to the list, but who knows? None of us may be on council on the next one. But that 68th Avenue one, I think, is one that could actually be a really good connection for the people that it serves in West Point and otherwise, getting across to even a grocery store and stuff. So I think bringing it to budget and having the ability to debate it is pretty good. And I don't know. I'm not saying I'm going to be on council to cut the budget again, but I think it's good. It's worthy to take a good look, and as long as we don't task them with too many. Worried about the Scenic Ridge, Crystal Ridge neighborhoods because the description is various areas in the roadway, so that seems like it'll be a lot of work for a little bit of gain. So, anyways, those are my opinions. Thanks.
Okay. Mayor Clayton.
Thanks, Chair Bressie. Yeah, I had a couple specific ones that I thought I would direct to go to budget, but I'm absolutely open to Councillor Plot's idea that we have further discussion on this. It's a fairly big report. There's a lot of information here, and I fear that if I were to choose a couple, it's just going to get debated over, this one. So I do think that there's a lot of value in regards to having further discussion on this at maybe Council Committee of the Whole. So I'll leave that to Director Glavin's suggestion, what he sees best in regards to a further discussion on this. But there's a lot of important pieces here. I think we all agree it's not going to be this budget. We know it wouldn't happen this summer for obvious reasons, but it's definitely, if there's some direction that through a further discussion that council can provide to administration so that it sets up the next council for discussion at budget time, I think that would be valuable. So I'll leave that to Director Glavin for, to take care of it, to just simply have a council committee of the whole discussion on this, or in order, recommendations of what Director Glavin sees best in regards to this discussion. Thanks.
Director Glavin.
Yeah, thanks, Chair Bressie. So generally speaking, you heard our approach that if there's no additional resources or specific direction, these gaps will get filled in as budget becomes available, and that's what we would do. If there's any specific direction on, this being sent to budget for specific pieces of the trail network that you would like to do and you need more information on them, then, that would be a direction, and specifically what information you were hoping to get to facilitate that discussion. We'd be more than happy to provide that. But I think if you would like another report brought back to a committee, just, what specific information you were hoping to get out of that. And we'd be happy to bring that back.
And I'll just get in to say that it's, I know what I'd love to see is, it's great hearing that these will happen as budget becomes available, but how important is this to council? I mean, it's really easy for council to say, hey, we're spending $500,000 less on roads in 2022 to start closing these. It's and I think that, or to increase capital tax or close others, where I think at some point there needs to be a conversation at the council level of how aggressive does council want to see these gaps closed, and how we have that conversation I'm very open to, but I'd love it to not be wait until it just shows up in budget. I'd love us to be a bit more proactive at deciding, are these a priority or are they not? And I think it's fair enough to say they're not a priority for council too. I just love council to have that actual conversation. Mayor Clayton and then Councillor Plott.
I'll wait for Councillor Plott. Thank you.
Councillor Plott.
Thanks, Chair. I guess for me, if we're looking at that lens, I think the conversation is good to receive this information. It's a good educational thing. And we let administration decide when capital projects come forward, just like we do with every other capital project in our city. Some of these, I think, are directly attributed to future growth in our city. If we want to start putting paths in front of other developments, then we're potentially setting a slippery slope to me in the development community of why did we run paths when there wasn't developments that were built out in some areas and we chose not to in other ones. So I think the report was great. I like administration's path. I'm very proud of the amount of paths we have in our community. I don't think we need to be spending millions of dollars more to enhance them even further. I think there's other areas in the community that could be better with that. And so for me, I prefer that we receive this information today. Somebody's really got a bone that they really want to see one of these advanced, then I would ask our council members to make that their own personal initiative to see something advanced if they think it's truly important. Otherwise, stay out of administration's way here and let them do what they've been doing with all other capital projects and why they bring them forward. To me, I think that's how we should be rolling with this. So appreciate the report. It was an eye-opener for me, but it makes me very confident that we don't need to be muddying into this and that we should just leave it as is. So that's my thing. If somebody has a passion piece, then I would ask them to make that their passion piece.
Just something I would highlight is last time administration brought recommendations to council about paths, we had significant conversation and debate about it. And it wasn't something we just rubber stamped and passed. We had significant conversation debate. And so for me, if we're going to have that conversation debate, I'd rather front load it and let administration know what we're hoping so that we can get out of their way when they bring forward recommendations rather than letting them make recommendations and then making our decisions on it. And again, fair enough if we want to reduce spending on paths. I just think the council should have that conversation before administration shapes their budgets, not after. Mayor Clayton.
Thanks, Chair Bressy. Yeah, I guess some of the information I would be looking for, I mean, there's one that's been identified at the north end of Bear Creek to the new hospital site in 2021. Other than that, setting up the next council for success, I think that there's an opportunity here for us to identify ones that are a priority, if at all. Let the next council decide if they actually happen, but the next council is going to have a steep learning curve, and then all of a sudden, there could administration, from what I see, unless I'm wrong, Director Glavin, isn't recommending sort of any of these be priority for 2022. I guess my fear is that, Councillor Plott, is that if we don't have some further discussion, some of these will get missed. A lot of these will get missed in the next budget discussion. And I think that some of them are of great value. I think that our city is, we have more paved walking trails per capita than any city in Canada. As we go through things like COVID, walking is a way to get people outside and to people to help support people's mental health, get the fresh air. And if we need to enhance any of our active transportation, then let's look at it. Next council can decide yes or no, they don't want to do it. But let's clearly identify if there's any that we think are more important than we thought they were when we've discussed this in the past.
Is there any other comments, any other questions? Anybody that's interested in making a motion? Councillor Thiessen.
Thank you, Chair Bressy. Barring any other motions, I will just throw this one on the table as recommended that council receive this report for information. Although I do agree with Mayor Clayton, I do think administration doesn't need this type of direction to bring something forward, but that's debatable. But for now, I'm comfortable receiving this report for information.
Is there? And yeah, I'd like to. I'd obviously like to take more action. I'd love to see another motion get made and passed, but at the same time, I definitely do support this motion. I think that I do appreciate the information that administration came, and I hope that there'd be a follow-up one. But if that's the will of committee, but certainly can support this motion because I do appreciate the information found in this report. Councillor Plott.
Thanks, Chair Bessie. I think for today, this is a good course of action to do. I do think that, as Mayor Clayton said, if there's certain things that you want to identify, I guess for me in a lot of these areas, what I'd ask everybody, if we did look at them in a future capital, is to identify how many sidewalks are currently in place. Although we don't have a path along 68th Ave, there's sidewalks all over the place in Pinnacle. There's paved trails all over the place in Pinnacle that you can find your way over to South 40 Common on your bike, on your feet, whatever you need to do. That's my fear sometimes, is we want to have paths everywhere, which is great. So if we're going to start talking about paths holistically, then I guess for me, I'd like to start talking about sidewalks. I mean, if we're going to put paths in every back alley, great. Then do we need a sidewalk in front of them? I think at some point we have to be realistic about future and ongoing capital expenses. Revenue's not looking like it's changing in the next little while, and I think expenses are going to continue to climb. So we have to be look at a holistic view of trail systems in general, and we put an awful lot of pavement in front of homes that isn't getting used, but we always want paths and separate sidewalks and these other kind of things. So I think it's a bigger conversation than just saying add trail systems. I think it starts coming back to is why aren't the sidewalks we're putting all over town being used enough as it is? So that's where I have a little bit of pushback on it, I guess. It's nice to have a bunch of trails, but I would ask each of you to get in your vehicles, drive to these areas, and ask if you could not find a way on your bike or your feet to find paved trails all over the place in these areas. So I don't think we're doing the community a disservice by not paving any of these.
The one thing I would point out, Councillor Plott, is we're talking about gaps in our transportation network, not in our trail system. And our active transportation network includes sidewalks. So when we're talking gaps in the active transportation network, it's not saying there's no paved path here. It's saying that there's no paved path or sidewalk way to get here. And so I just think it's important to recognize that the Transportation Master Plan did look at sidewalks, not just trail systems. We do have a motion to receive for information. Is there any other conversation debate on this motion? In that case, I will call it to question. And that motion carries. And is there any further business committee would like to do on this? In that case, I will move on to the next item on our agenda, which I believe is, yes, it is the outstanding items list. I will just say thank you, Mr. Hinton, for your report. Thank you for setting up the conversation. And I'll turn to Director Glavin for the outstanding items list.
Thank you, Chair Bressie. Today we address two items on the list, 1114 active transportation network gaps, as well as 1121 Get in the Loop program update. 1137, the Parkland bylaw. This report may slip one meeting. Our supervisor in that area left us for the island. So we're just in the middle of recruiting there. So right now we're a little bit short-staffed. So this might be one meeting postponed, but our goal is to get it on the next committee meeting. The Bike Skills Park, we're still waiting to get the RFP confirmed for design on that. So this one too may be something that doesn't happen until near the end of April, based on the drawings that we get from the vendor. And currently the Build Grande Prairie report is on track.
I see Mayor Clayton.
Thanks, Chair Bressie. Director Glavin, in regards to the Bike Skill Park, when the detailed enhanced landscaping plan, when that comes back on March 30th, can we just make sure that's there? I mean, it doesn't need to be the exact drawn species, whatever, but can we have something so that the concerned neighbors of that area have a better visual of what we're doing? You know, right now the problem is there's lots of terms for what we're doing, whether it's a skills park, a bike park, a BMX park. You know, it's so many different terms, and unless, you know, and even if you're somebody like that enjoys that recreation, you may call the type of berm or whatever you're going over different than someone else that's riding over it calls it. And there's just so much confusion in the conversation of this. And, you know, we as a group have talked about, we want to have trees in this area. And obviously we're replacing with native species. And so I don't know if it needs to be a beautiful drawing, but can we just have something at that drawing so we can help council have easier conversations with the concerned people of Crystal Lake. Because I absolutely support this bike park there, and I'm pretty confident that council does as well. But we just, there is a small group of people that is very concerned about how it impacts their neighborhood. So the more information, the more visual we can have at that update would be appreciated. Thanks.
Thanks, Chair Bressie. And certainly we can bring something forward that is conceptual. We'll try and push the vendor to get the drawings as close to as what we expect to get in the end. Conceptually speaking, we've discussed it before, but what you can expect to see at the end of this for an end product is going to look very similar to what we currently have at the South Bike Park in Bear Creek. So generally speaking, that's the product. The landscaping will be different in that area as council has recognized that this needs to be a higher degree of landscaping on that site, and we will ensure that happens, and we can bring something forward to committee as soon as possible. So it might be a two-step process here where we bring something high level in at the end of March, and then something more detailed after the consultant finalizes drawing.
Thank you.
Any other, is anybody willing to make a motion to receive the oil list? Councillor Thiessen.
Thank you, Chair Bressie. I would move that we receive the outstanding items list as amended.
Great, thank you. Any conversation or debate? In that case, I will call it to question. Great, and that motion carries. And with that, I will call this meeting adjourned. Thank you, everybody. We'll take a 5-minute break for the next one.